Time to install some more goodies. Alright, so I'm working on the C10 here, and I'm looking for locations in the intake to plumb up this nitrous system. Now here is the nozzle. It's got fuel and nitrous in, and then you can see that that's threaded right there, so that usually plumbs in. First thing I started with was mounting the tank. This is a 15-pound tank, and it's got a 4AN or -4 outlet. It's got gauge ports, and this one has the Lightning 500 solenoid. Now when you order the kit, I think it comes with the 400 something solenoid. Anyways, I had this tank, but you get the tank with the kit when you order the kit, and it comes with the clamps. And then my line runs up underneath the frame. It follows the fuel line on the other side, and then it comes up. So I have the nitrous line, the feed line, main feed line hooked up there, and then I have these two lines which go around and into this shark nozzle. Now, I actually plumbed this into a spot that I don't like. I didn't like it originally, but it was the only spot that I really had available. You can see there that that's in the side of the intake, and if you look, the way it's gonna feed in there, you can see that black nozzle, that's the nitrous nozzle. The way it's gonna feed in there, it's gonna bias the front cylinders because it's gonna wanna go in, suck in, and then come back down this way, because basically nitrous in any air is gonna take the path of least resistance, any fluid actually. So I'm gonna have to change that up. Now, the Nitrous Express kit came with this bung style or bulkhead style fitting, which screws into that shark nozzle. So you can take this apart, and for example purposes, you see here's my air intake, just a basic stock air intake off a 94 Silverado. A lot of times people will take it and they will put this bulkhead fitting in the top of this. So say there's a hole there, you set it down in, and then you use this nut to back it up, and then you have your 1/8 inch NPT plug-in for your shark nozzle to go into. Now what I'm gonna have to do, because the way this is set up, it's a little different, so I'll just toss this on here like it goes. Find the hole, come on. Because normally it sits like that and the hood comes down. Well, when the hood comes down, it's only a few inches from this, so if you have this nozzle putting straight up using that bung that comes with the kit, then the line's gonna be like this, and it's gonna be way too high. So what I'm going to use is a 1/4 inch street elbow. Now this has a 1/4 inch MPT opening on this side, female, and a 1/4 inch MPT male on this side. Now remember I said it was 1/8 inch. Well, I wanted the 1/4 inch because it has a bigger orifice inside. So what that means is there's a bigger opening in this end here. If you get it 1/8 by 1/8, this is going to have a smaller opening. It's going to restrict the flow of nitrous. So all I have to do is use a bushing here from a 1/4 to an 1/8 to plug in that shark nozzle. So I can take this male side down, like so, drill a hole this size, set it down in there, and then the shark nozzle will come through like that. So it'll be less height restriction. And what that'll allow is the nozzle will actually spray directly in the center of the intake here and go right through the TBI unit, and it'll get evenly spread. So right here I have the 1/4 inch street elbow with a reducer that brings it down to the 1/8 inch that's needed for this nozzle. So notice that this nozzle has an opening. Might not be able to see it in the video. See that opening there? That is what you want to spray directly into your intake. So you have to tighten this so that that opening lines up with your hole in your fitting here. So I'll mark this side. This is the side that needs to be spraying towards the intake directly. Now I'll put this into my reducer bushing with my street elbow. Now it's finger tight. Now you can see that this side is actually the side that's going here. So I have to go a little further, and I can't get it there by hand, but it has to go another 90 degrees so that this side lines up with this fitting, so that it sprays directly down into the intake. Now if you look down in there, you can see that black tip, and you can see the opening is completely open, so there's no restriction from the fitting itself. And now here's my intake cover. Now this is what I'm going to put the fitting into. So with the way this is designed, this fitting will have to go like that, but then how do you get your line on there? So that's the problem I'm coming across right now. Even if I somehow attach this without losing any height this way, I still won't be able to get the line on. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make a nipple that raises it up off of this intake cover so I can have enough room for the line to comfortably fit in there. Just have a piece of pipe here, and I drilled this to a .437 opening, which is the drill opening size for a 1/4 inch NPT thread. So you can see I threaded that in there. Okay, threads into there like so. And I'm gonna have to cut this down. I just have this long. This is just an old piece of pipe I had. You can see I already tapped one end. Anyways, I'm gonna have to cut this down, and I'll actually weld it on to this intake cover. So I'll probably cut it down to about 1 inch, and then that'll give me enough room to comfortably work with. So that's something that I had to do. Everybody's setup's gonna be a little different. Right here, this black box is the solenoid container. It's got the, like I said, it's got the fuel and the nitrous solenoids. Now you can see that sometimes these solenoids, or normally these solenoids, are a little bit loose in this container. Have no fear, I asked about that. One is fuel in, one's nitrous in, fuel out, nitrous out, and then you can see right there are the wires. Now I have these wired to a standard relay, which comes with the kit, and then wired back to a switch inside, and a micro switch here on the throttle. So when you give it full throttle, the switch engages. If you listen, you can hear the switch. So I set that up, came with the bracket, but the brackets are all going to be different. You just need to find something that'll work. Some people will put them inside the truck. Some people will put them on the throttle out here. It's really no difference. It's just preference. Wet shot means being fuel and nitrous both together. A lot of times on gassers you use the wet shot. On diesels you use a dry shot, which means you don't incorporate extra fuel. On this one I am doing a wet shot, like I just said. So what you have to do is tap into the stock fuel lines. Now on this you see that line right there. That is the steel fuel line. That is the 3/8 fuel line. Goes into the throttle body. They're all going to be different. But anything high pressure that's not carbureted is going to have a steel line, which you will have to get an adapter for. The Proton Plus kit did not come with that adapter. It actually came with this hose barb AN fitting, which is fine for carbureted applications. You get the 5/16 or 3/8 line, whatever size this is, and you just hose clamp the line on, and it's just in the line. It's a T, and you run your line to that. But on a high pressure fuel system, so anything TBI or fuel injected, you're going to have to use a compression style T. Now this is a compression style T that comes with the TBI kits that Nitrous Express sells, but the Proton Plus kit is cheaper, so that's why I'm running that. And then it's just to an adapter that goes from 1/8 inch NPT to a 4AN line. So now this is just a compression style fitting. Basically goes, I just showed you that steel line. It goes right in line with the steel line, and it's just extra fuel that goes up into your solenoid, which is right here. You can see there's an open port on it, on the top there, right there. You can see there's that open port, which is where this fuel feed goes. So that is one thing. You want to make sure that if you have a high pressure fuel system, so anything over, say, 12 PSI, you're going to want to use a compression style fitting. Otherwise you get the problems of having a leak, and yeah, fuel leaks aren't good. So yeah, that's that. Again, this comes in the TBI kit, but does not come in the Proton Plus kit. The Proton Plus kit comes with this basic fitting. But you can buy these fittings from Nitrous Express. I think this was like $12 or $13. And the adapter is probably about $4 online, or wherever you want to get it. And the hose comes with the kit, so woo! Crocs and socks! Now I have the inlet side all hooked up with the nitrous and with the fuel. Now the fuel line is the top line, and it comes around, goes up there, and then it goes to this fitting, which is right down there. And that is the T fitting. The compression T that I just showed you is right there in the line. And I made sure that it cleared my throttle cable and everything else. So now I have this cover over here, which I added the bung and the brass fitting to. And I'm letting it dry, and then I can put it all together and put the nozzle in there with the jetting, and seal all the fittings with the supplied sealer. So I painted the top of this air cleaner gloss black. It'll eventually get dirty like this and turn semi-gloss or satin. Anyways, I got the lines ran. You can see it's got the fuel and the nitrous line, obviously, and there's a 30 nozzle in the nitrous and a 20 in the fuel, so that'll give me a 50 horsepower shot. The lines are then ran around back into the Proton Plus solenoid, which is wired up, plumbed up. Overall, pretty clean looking install, I think. Another thing that doesn't come with the Proton Plus kit, but it's nice to have, 15508 nitrous gauge. Basically this just plumbs right into the tank. So that right there on the back is an 1/8 inch MPT male. And then on the solenoid, you can see right there where it says gauge port, that's an 1/8 inch MPT female. So you just plug this right in, plumb it right in, and I'll be able to see mine from inside. Just because it's nice to know if you're empty or full. And ideally, you want this to be at about 1050 psi, which is nice. Has the green, yellow, red. It comes with all the connectors, and here's all the jets. This is just a box that I got all the stuff sitting in. So there's the jet sizing, or the jets, and then the suggested combinations of nitrous and fuel jets. So Tinman 2 Kustoms, rolling out with this C10, installing a Nitrous Express Proton Plus on a 94 Silverado TBI engine. It's basically the same as carburetor, just something that goes in the intake and throws a wet shot at her. So ciao ciao for now. And thread this on. Now if you look down and shit, fuck, bastard. Anyways, if you look down on the end of this, but I wanted to plumb it into this intake, so it was right there. Fucking A, man, I can't even talk right now. So I'm down here working on the C10. Fucking A. Decided I was gonna do differently. First of all, I mounted the fucking A. Dude, I'm having a hard time here. Restart.